On Earth 65 in New York City, north of a year subsequent to assisting Route Head Boss with Miles' spirits, Gwen Stacy relates her battle to make associations with anybody around her. Feeling separated in her job as Bug Lady, in the wake of leaving her group, she recalls the last individual she felt near, her dearest companion Peter Parker. He, alongside his Auntie May, was extremely near Gwen and her dad, police skipper George Stacy. However, she never educated any of them concerning her twofold life as a superhuman. Peter was harassed constantly at school, in spite of Gwen attempting to guard him. Unbeknownst to her, he began trying different things with a perilous compound. The evening of prom, a Goliath reptile beast went after the school and attempted to kill Peter's domineering jerk. Gwen, jumping right into it as Insect Lady, warded him off, making the structure break down on top of the animal. The reptile returned to Peter, who was mortally harmed by the rubble. Gwen attempted to save him, however it was past the point of no return. Peter uncovered he realized she was Bug Lady, and consoled her prior to passing on in her arms. Skipper Stacy found her over Peter's body and expected the concealed vigilante killed him, requesting a far-reaching manhunt for Bug Lady. In the present, Gwen gets back to find her father, who is still up in the air to cut down the executioner of his little girl's dearest companion. Regardless of Gwen letting him know it's horrible, he before long leaves to answer an unsettling influence at the Guggenheim Historical Center. Gwen is soon behind him as Insect Lady, killing the police outside and entering to find a material-based rendition of the Vulture has been sucked into her aspect and is unleashing devastation inside. She is nailed somewhere near the bad guy, yet is saved by another between-layered explorer, Miguel O'Hara, aka Insect Man 2099, head of the Bug Society. He tells her that Vulture, and others like him, have been getting sucked into imaginary worlds since the Collider occurrence in Miles' reality. His suit and powers are as yet battling to stifle the Renaissance Time Vulture, N.D. He utilizes his man-made consciousness called Lila to call for reinforcement as Jessica Drew, another Bug Lady. Together, the three can stop Vulture and save the regular people and police nearby. Weaver Miguel almost utilizes a couple of stowed-away teeth on the animal. Gwen is out of web and harmed, and stops to rest. She is found and cornered by Chief Stacy, who attempts to take her in. With no different choices, she uncovers her way of life as his own girl, to his shock. Notwithstanding her attempting to prevail upon him and declare her blamelessness of Peter's demise, he keeps on setting her in custody. He is come by Miguel and Jess, who get ready to return the Vulture to their aspect. Jess persuades a profoundly hesitant Miguel not to abandon Gwen in isolation, and he permits her to go with them. A while later in Brooklyn on Earth 1610, another modest lowlife named the Spot attempts, fruitlessly, to ransack an ATM utilizing his spots, which make entryways whose situation he can't handle his powers. Miles' spirits, a.k.a. Bug Man, shows up to stop him. He doesn't treat the apparently innocuous criminal in a serious way, as it appears to be clear he is bumbling and doesn't have any desire to hurt anybody. However, Spot demands that he is Bug Man's enemy. Before he can make sense of, Miles gets unhinged texts from his folks, Jefferson and Rio, who are hanging tight for him at school for a gathering with his guideline to examine his montage future. Miles attempts to bring down Spot rapidly, yet the erratic gateways lead to a turbulent pursuit across the city. Miles in the long run curbs Spot, yet needs to pass on to meet his folks. Miles is doing all around okay in school, yet a portion of his grades, and his extracurricular exercises as a whole, have experienced his unexplained non-appearances. His folks are likewise worried that he needs to leave for a collection in New Jersey to assist with concentrating on layered travel. He leaves abruptly, seeing that Spot has gotten away, and Jeff leaves too. To Rio's irritation, Jefferson follows Bug Man, who has returned to battling Spot, the nondescript man feeling offended that Bug Man considers him low-level bad guy. While magically transporting everywhere, them three end up in vestiges of the Alchemax Collider. The Spot tells Bug Man that this is where they were both made, as Spot used to be a researcher at ALC. Hemax, the person who Miles tossed a bagel at in the principal film, and ran the test which brought the bug that pieced Miles through from another aspect. Moreover, when Miles obliterated the Collider, the energy delivered caused a mishap that transformed Spot forever into the humanoid gateway animal his is presently. The Spot was disregarded by his associates, companions, and even family for his condition. He becomes rankled, and attempts to go after Bug Man and Lieutenant Spirits, yet coincidentally kicks himself into a profound entry, which closes behind him. Jeff is baffled that the lawbreaker moved away, as well as all the property harm brought about by the battle. He trusts in Bug-Man about his battles to be a decent dad and spouse, and the veiled Miles gracelessly offers exhortation prior to leaving. The Spot thinks of himself as in a void, where he sees numerous entryways made by his spots. Glancing through them, he finds he can go to various aspects through them, yet loses RGY and can't get back to in the middle between space. He decides to figure out how to get more ability to control the void and route Bug-Man. Miles proceeds to attempt to adjust his life as Miles with his obligations as Insect Man. While late to a major party to praise his father's forthcoming advancement to police skipper, he stops to get cakes, however is continually waylaid by Bug-Man obligations coming back. Missing his dad's discourse, at the point when he at long last makes it, the cakes are destroyed, and his folks stand up to him about his cryptic way of behaving. Miles becomes baffled, attempting to think of a clarification, and snaps at his folks. Rio and Jeff ground him, and Miles stomps off to his room. Gwen unexpectedly shows up through a layered entryway constrained by a watch given to her by Miguel. And she welcomes him to hang out. They suit up and Gwen fills him in regarding Miguel's association, the Bug Society, which she has joined to assist with safeguarding the different universes. The two watch the city for some time prior to halting to talk, and Gwen trusts in him that he is the main companion she's made since her Peter kicked the bucket, as Miles relates his own battles with the tension from his folks. He thinks perhaps he ought to simply come clean with them, yet Gwen cautions against it. As they draw nearer, Gwen comments that in each and every other universe, a variant of Gwen Stacy succumbs to Bug-Man, however it generally finishes in misfortune. Miles hopefully expresses that there might be a first time for the story to cheerfully end. They RN to the party where Gwen shows Miles her aspect-hopping watch, which likewise settles her so she doesn't mess up when she is in different universes. Miles gets some information about joining the Bug Society. However, she turns out to be out of nowhere shut off about the subject and suggests that it's a profoundly particular and first-class bunch. Jeff and Rio barge in to meet Gwen, quickly disliking her kinship with Miles. Gwen needs to leave when her watch shows to her, and Jeff passes on Rio to converse with Miles. They have a genuine talk, at the same time, dreading everything Gwen said to him. Miles actually doesn't uncover he is Insect Man. Rio gives him her approval to pursue Gwen. Miles gets ready and tracks Insect Gwen to a deserted and is of late harmed fabricating, utilizing High's powers to turn imperceptible and follow her inside. She utilizes her watch to reproduce what occurred, seeing that Spot made a small-scale collider to empower him to aspect jump. Gwen blows a gasket, and is called by Jess, who is irate that Gwen neglected to stop Spot before he got away. She understands Gwen defied direct requests to avoid Miles, however Gwen demands she needed to see him. She lets Jess know that she will leave Miles' aspect everlastingly, and the more seasoned insect lady allows her one final opportunity to get Spot before she tells Miguel. Lila tracks him, and Gwen utilizes her watch to go through an entrance. Not set in stone to find out about the Bug Society, and feeling desolate without his companions, Miles bounces in after her. They end up in Earth 50101, Mumbai, a reality where New York is a gigantic city in India. Miles inadvertently runs into Gwen while she is pursuing Spot, who has acquired significantly more command over his powers and is avoiding her without any problem. Miles likewise meets the nearby Insect Man, Paviter Prabhakar. Paviter has just been Bug Person for a very long time, yet is now an individual from the Insect Society. Miles starts to fit due to being uprooted from his universe, similar to the others did the earlier year, and almost gets Gwen injured when he attempts to save her. The three follow Spot to Earth 50101's Alchemax, which houses a completely utilitarian collider. Spot closes them out with a force field and enacts the gadget. Miles utilizes his toxin powers to take the energy from the force field, yet it's as excessively sluggish and not sufficient. Another Bug individual shows up and utilizes his own powers to crush however the hindrance, exhorting Miles on the appropriate procedure. He is Gwen's companion Hobie Brown, aka Bug Punk, an English disorderly revolutionary Bug Man. He joins the others in attempting to prevent Spot from entering the collider, however are past the point of no return. As Spot retains the power, Miles sees a dream of his dad and one more police officer being killed during a fight in the city. Yet again Spot, presently totally covered by the dim entryways and unrecognizable, T.S. Miles know that he will have his retribution for how the youngster legend's activities have treated him, and breaks aspects. The structure begins to fall and slide down onto Mumbadon, so the 4 insect individuals cooperate to clean the regular people off of damages away. As Paviter attempts to save a transport holding his sweetheart, he sees that her dad, police reviewer Singh, is likewise at serious risk. Miles goes to save him. Yet Gwen keeps him down. It's too hazardous to even think about saying. Miles goes at any rate, and is only ready to save the assessor, to Paviter and his sweetheart's alleviation and appreciation. Notwithstanding, a dark entryway opens up in the core of the city, and a vehicle brimming with other bug individuals, including Jess, shows up to contain it. Jess orders Gwen, Hobie, and Miles to get back with her to HQ. Miles is glad to be led inside the bug society, yet Gwen is troubled. They are moved to Earth 928, Nueva York, a lovely modern world in the year 2099. They enter the bug society base camp, where Miles sees many insect individuals from all kinds of aspects, including a computer-generated experience symbol bug lady named Bug Bite, Control D from a distance by young person Margot Kess. Befuddled with regards to why Gwen let him know it was a little gathering, Miles is given a wristband to keep him from misfiring. He likewise sees peculiarities. Bad guys dislodged from their own aspects, who are detained in planning to be sent home by the return home machine, a gadget that recognizes the DNA of the irregularities and sends them to the aspect they came from. They are called to see Miguel, and Hobie advises Miles to consider cautiously about why he needs to be a piece of the general public, cautioning him to understand what he's be. At length before he acknowledges their techniques. Miguel is angry at Gwen and Miles for allowing Spot to move away, particularly at Miles for meddling. He is interfered with by Peter B. Parker, the bug man who helped Miles the earlier year, with his newborn child little girl Mayday. Gwen assumes liability, saying she ought to never have gone to see Miles as she was compelled not to get him included. Miles need to know what's happening, so Miguel chooses to clarify what is happening for him. He shows him a calculation containing the subtleties of each and every universe's bug man, and the things that interface all of them together, like the demise of a friend or family member prodding them to courage. Miguel makes sense of that these are ordnance occasions that are vital for each bug man's universe. These occasions can't be changed, or, more than likely they will break the standard, prompting decimating results. Miguel makes sense of that he, at the end of the day, broke the stand. When he attempted to supplant a variant of himself that was killed, to raise that form of him's little girl. Nonetheless, his obstruction made that aspect and everybody in it blur into nothing. There are different subtleties that numerous bug individuals share and can be followed by the calculation, one of which being a police chief near insect man winding up dead while attempting to save a youngster. This passing has been capable by Peter B. What's more, Jess, as well as Hobie. It should end up captaining Singh in Mumbadon, however Miles saved him, making the dark energy show up and take steps to swallow the whole world. Gwen was attempting to stop him to protect the calculation standard. Miles understands that his father will before long be made a skipper, and the vision from Spot showed the antagonist causing Jefferson's demise while attempting to save a youngster. Miguel affirms that as per their projections, Miles' dad will bite the dust in 2 days, when he is confirmed. Miles needs to go save him. Yet Miguel won't permit him to, saying it is a penance that all insect individuals should make, and demanding that to harm the ordinance in excess of would make each aspect be destroyed. The other insect individuals encompass Miles and let him know something very similar, even Peter B. Furthermore, Gwen will not meddle. Miles dismisses the thought that the calculation KNOW's precisely exact thing will occur on the off chance that he attempts to save his father, so Miguel captures him in a power confine, proposing to hold him until the group occasion has worked out. Hobie helps Miles to remember his toxin powers, and Miles breaks out of the enclosure and runs for it. Hobie looks on gladly prior to stopping the bug society and getting back to his own aspect. Miguel orders each bug individual in the high-rise to get Miles, yet he can avoid them into the Undercity. Peter B. tracks down him and attempts to dissuade him, saying he just dared to become a dad in light of Miles, and attempts to inspire him to surrender for the good of his own. Miles won't permit his dad to bite the dust in light of the fact that Miguel's calculation says it is intended to work out, and leaves Peter behind when Miguel tracks them from Peter's watch. Miles escapes onto a train destined for the moon, yet Miguel pursues him mercilessly. He gets him, and irately lets Miles know that he would never be a piece of the insect society, since he is an oddity himself. The bug that piece Miles was from another aspect. It was never expected to tear into him, and someplace there is AW. Earled with no insect man at all as a result of it. Peter B. What's more, Gwen get up to speed, and incidentally uncover that they knew about this, leaving Miles feeling deceived by his own companions. By and by, he utilizes his toxin strike to depower Miguel's suit, letting him know that he won't ever surrender, and he has now attracted all of the insect individuals from the Central Command. He leaves Miguel and the others on the train as he turns undetectable and gets away from back to HQ. He actuates the return home machine, which checks his DNA. Miguel attempts frantically to stop him, however. Our insect bite allows the machine to keep sending Miles away. Miguel is irate, and orders Jess and Ben, aka Red Insect, to accompany him and chase Miles down. Gwen questions Miguel before everybody, contending that perhaps Miles is correct, and maybe Insect Man 2099's calculation doesn't be aware for specific what will occur assuming the ordinance is broken. Miguel utilizations to return home a sheen to oust Gwen back to her own aspect. Peter B. also Mayday return to Earth 616 to track down his better half, Mary Jane, hanging tight for them. Peter contemplates whether he will be any great at bringing up a youngster, all things considered. However, Mary Jane consoles him. Miles shows up in New York, and Gwen is dropped off in Earth 65. Miguel, Red, and Jessica likewise magically transport to New York. Gwen attempts frantically to return and track down Miles, however her watch has been deactivated. She goes to her loft to snatch her things, however is tracked down by her father. They at last talk, Gwen making sense of why she believed she would never educate him regarding her modify inner self, and George tells her that he is stopping the police force. Gwen understands that implies he will as of now not be a chief. And they accommodate. George gives Gwen a bundle left by Hobie, containing a handcrafted aspect watch produced using parts taken from the Insect Society. Gwen utilizes it to bounce back to Miles, Earth.